Hey guys, I'm Nat.
And I'm Ashton.
And we are the Nerds in Flannel. Hey guys, welcome back to our second episode of the day. We just recorded the Multiverse in Madness video like 1 hour ago.
Yeah, something like that.
So we are so excited to hop right back on the horse and give you guys another episode. Ashton, why don't you tell our lovely audience what we're talking about today?
We are covering a very broad subject, one that is probably one of the only big franchises we haven't really talked about so far.
Yes.
And that would be the DC Universe.
The DC Universe.
So DC movies, and yeah.
We can do TV shows.
We can throw some TV shows in there. Yeah.
Too much Marvel, gotta balance it out.
Exactly. Gotta balance the light and the dark, if you catch my drift.
Man, yeah. DC movies are dark, man. Holy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, we want to start off by telling you guys what our favorite DC movie is.
Yes.
And our least favorite.
Okay.
Actually, do you want me to go first? How about we go least favorite first?
Least favorite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do not like, my least favorite is Suicide Squad. Not the Suicide Squad, but Suicide Squad.
Okay.
That movie is a mess.
Yep.
That's what happens when studios interfere and don't let the director do what they want to do, and then you get these reshoots, and the story doesn't make any sense, and one piece of dialogue destroys the entire movie. It was just a mess.
Yep.
The only good part that came out of that movie was probably Rick Flag and Harley Quinn, because honestly, those two characters carried the next movie, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
All right, Ashton, what about you?
All right. If we're talking in terms of like all DC movies, my least favorite would have to be Batman and Robin.
Oh my!
I feel like a lot of fans out there also share the same sort of opinion too. Man, just 2 words. Bat nipples.
You don't like the bat nipples?
I do not like the bat nipples. I get what they were trying to do. They're trying to make him look like a Greek god, like one of those like Greek god statues.
Yeah.
But dude, it just there was just too much.
And dude, George Clooney, # not my Batman.
I feel like he had the potential to be a good Batman. It's just they wanted to make that movie completely different.
Yeah.
And they ruined it.
Also, the script wasn't that great.
The script wasn't great. Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. What a joke.
Lots of jokes.
Yeah. They did my boy bad there.
All right. Ashton, favorite DC movie. You're probably gonna steal mine, but I want you to go first because I care.
Okay. I see you. I would say right now, my favorite DC movie. I don't know if I'm stealing yours, actually.
I think so.
Okay. It's the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League.
Never mind. I take everything back. That is not what I was thinking you were gonna say.
So I know this movie is still a little controversial. I'll explain later in the episode why I think it's like the best DC movie. It's like, I would say my favorite has to be the best, but it's not one I'm just gonna go like watch randomly out of the blue, because it's a friggin' 4-hour long movie. I just think it did DC really good.
Good job, DC.
Yeah.
You did it. You actually let someone direct a movie for once.
Cool. I think I know what yours is, actually.
Yes, my favorite DC movie is the one and only Dark Knight.
There we go.
That movie, dude. Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite directors, and Batman is one of my favorite superheroes. So when you put them together, magic happens. And I know people talk about Heath Ledger's performance all the time. It's really good. I won't see anything bad about it.
Yeah,
it's amazing. But I wanted to focus on the score in that movie, the music.
Yes,
I think that's Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, it is.
Let's say it's Hans. Yeah, it's probably Hans Zimmer. Hans and Christopher have a good relationship. Also, I have a good relationship with them. That's why I can refer to them in the first person. I mean, by their first name. Yeah.
He has them on speed dial on his burner phone.
Yeah. Christopher, can you explain Tenet to me, please? That movie was a trip.
Dang.
All right, Ashton. What do you want to talk about?
Well, we could... You know what's interesting when I think about, like, DC movies? Is, like, the vast history. Like, they've been... Live-action DC movies have been around longer
Yes.
than Marvel ones. and somehow DC just can't seem to make them as great as the MCU movies.
This is true.
And when I say great, I'm not saying like to my expectations or whatever. I'm just saying to the general like fandom out there and general audiences. Like somehow Marvel made comic books cool.
Yeah.
And DC hasn't really made like DC movies quite as like whatever Marvel did. I don't want them to do exactly what Marvel did, but I think a lot of the movies have their own charm. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how we could start out with something like Superman, like the Christopher Reeve Superman, and just kind of get all these super awesome like Batman movies and everything.
Right.
And then we end up with movies like, okay, Batman Forever wasn't as bad, but then we end up with like Batman and Robin or Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest.
Yeah. What do you think about just sort of the history of DC movies?
See, for me, I grew up on the DC movies. Like, I grew up watching like Batman and Robin, Batman Forever. No, Batman Begins. Batman Begins is really good. Underrated movie, animated. Yep. If you didn't know. I also grew up watching the Christopher Reeve's Superman. You know, and you know, what was it? Search for Peace, the really bad one with Weatherman. What I don't even know what his name is. Yeah, I think for me, I grew up more into DC just because, you know, back then, when I was born in 2000. Back then, there wasn't really any good Marvel movies, and Superman, you know, the big mainstream superhero, that was kind of like my thing. So, yeah, I think that DC really needs to step up their game.
Yeah.
The source material for DC is slightly less interesting than, like, I would say MCU, because in the DC universe, everyone's technically a god.
Yeah.
Like, there's lots of gods and like really powerful beings, but like in Marvel's case, it's just regular people getting superpowers. They're not born into it, which I think is a much more compelling concept. So I think DC needs to play catch up and find a concept that works for them. And yeah, I think for every good DC movie, there's like 3 or 4 bad ones.
Probably right about that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like, I definitely prefer DC comics,
right,
more so than I do Marvel comics. I think DC TV shows have generally been better.
Yep.
And pretty much anything that's been animated, like DC animation,
it's pretty good.
It's better than things I've seen on the Marvel side, and that's including What If. I really loved What If.
Yeah.
But then I would rank something like Batman Mask of the Phantasm like way up higher. Like, that's my gold standard for like storytelling and animation.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, it's, man, I kind of feel bad for a lot of the creatives that want to come in and do some like more DC stuff.
Yeah.
I think James Gunn is really the only person who's seen success with having like barely any studio interference and just letting him do whatever he wants. Pretty much.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, as we're recording this, Peacemaker, the DC show Peacemaker.
Great show, man.
Great show. It's coming out weekly.
Yeah.
I think we have like 2 episodes left or something.
I think there's 1 left.
I think it's 8 episodes.
Oh, hey, if it's 8, I'm not gonna complain.
Episode 6 just came out.
Also, it's very R-rated.
Very much so.
Very R-rated.
Very much so. And apparently in episode 8, James Gunn said he can't believe that the studio actually let him get away with what he put in there.
That scares me. James Gunn's very visual.
He's a very visual guy.
Yeah.
I'm shaking a little bit here, but I'm sure I'll like it in some way. Maybe we'll see. I trust him enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's really the only person who's had creative success, which to me is kind of unfortunate because I think part of how Marvel got success is they started up as an independent studio first, and then they were bought out by Disney. Right. And Disney was pretty much like, hey, we're just gonna brand you the same way. We're not gonna put like our Walt Disney Pictures or whatever logo in front of all your movies. Mm-hmm. Like, you guys are Marvel. we just kind of get the money and we get like a little bit of creative control, but pretty much everything is like up to you guys.
Yeah.
Whereas DC, Warner Bros has like held on to that like almost as tight as Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, even if you watch any like DC movie or DCEU movie, you'll see like the Warner Bros logo is the first one that shows up before the DC Comics thing, and there's just like a lot more of this, I guess, disconnect, and a lot more. I almost feel like it's greediness. I understand studios wanting to make stuff that like that'll sell, but you kind of gotta let the creatives take charge in that, and not the like, you know, business people.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's, and I kind of like the idea of this, like, as Nat said earlier, like, the difference between DC and Marvel fundamentally is Marvel kind of has people coming in and just getting these superpowers, and kind of that whole Spider-Man thing, with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely.
And then with things like DC is kind of more like, how would people react to seeing gods walk among us? And that's something that kind of happens in the comics too, at least like in some of the later ones. I actually don't mind that concept as much, and I think the whole DCEU Snyderverse, I think, and this might be a controversial take, is probably one of my favorite like DC things as a whole, at least what he was trying to do.
Okay, that's not a hot take. I think the problem with Zack Snyder is he tries to bring too much of his own personality into his movies. Sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's bad. And I think, like, the way that he directs his movie is he wants it to be gritty.
Yeah.
And I remember there's this quote. I can't remember what, like, who was interviewing him, but they asked him, why does he make Batman so dark? And he's like, see, people think of Batman as his hero and, like, this good guy who, like, just doesn't kill people. Well, I like the version of Batman where, like, if he went to jail, he would get beat up in prison, and people would just, like, do the nastiest things to him. And I'm like, if Batman went to prison, he would beat everyone up.
Yeah.
Like, have you put the Arkham games are a perfect example of that.
True.
Like, Zachary, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like, can we have a DC movie not directed by Zack Snyder for a long time? give Zack a 2-year hiatus, and then he can come back.
I honestly, like, my fear is that he's not going to come back at all.
Yeah.
Like, I understand, like, I think something that's actually worked for DC is having multiple different things going instead of just one central universe. I think that's their strength with, like, movies like Joker. I wouldn't mind if they did, like, a DCEU thing and just kind of, like, or if they rebranded the DCEU to be something else.
Yeah.
And then just kind of made, like, the Snyderverse movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then just had those kind of, like, as a separate thing. It's interesting because there's so much source material and so much inspiration out there that all these directors look at, and it's really hard to nail down, like, one definitive version of a character.
Right.
Like for Batman, for instance, and as we're recording this, the Batman by Matt Reeves.
So excited for
that. It's coming up soon. But he wants to do a different take on Batman's persona that we haven't seen before, which is more of the investigator, like, be rookie Batman. Whereas, like, what Christopher Nolan did was, like,
he's been doing it for a while.
Yeah, like, you kind of see a bit of his origin, but then you also see, like, him kind of being more established, and then you see him later on in his career when he hangs up the cape at the end of The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
And then with what Zack Snyder wanted to do with Batman was, like, he wanted to show sort of this Batman who is just, he's pretty much lost, like, he defines humanity, and with that comes all the evil in humanity. So over time of him fighting crime, losing loved ones, he just becomes more hardened and gritty.
Right.
And he just stops caring. He doesn't stop pulling his punches.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting take. And I think these are all accurate takes because we've seen all these, like, in the source material.
Right.
But for just having one, like, Batman as a character, and I'm only using him as an example. This is kind of the case with like almost all DC heroes, and actually even some Marvel heroes. It's really hard to nail down who that character is, and it's kind of cool that DC has kind of branched out and made sort of this format where people can just do, like, show whatever part of a character they want to show the most. Yeah, that's what I got on that.
Sick. I want to talk about one thing. So there's this perception about DC movies that they are a lot darker. Do you like the darker tone of the DC movies?
Yeah. So I like how more like personal it gets in a way. Okay. Like you can look at DC metaphor or DC movies as metaphors for like how kind of like gray life can get.
Yeah.
Where I feel like Marvel kind of like, so I get mad at some Marvel movies because it feels like they force jokes in because they're kind of known for making these like family friendly, like PG-13 sci-fi movies that you can go, you're pretty much going to have a guaranteed good time. But they're kind of making it Marvel out to be more for general audiences. Although No Way Home was like, we won't spoil it here, but and it looks like Moon Knight's probably going to be darker. They have done a couple of darker things. Multiverse of Madness will probably be a little darker, I'd assume. But I kind of like the whole feel. And after seeing shows like The Boys and Invincible,
great shows.
After seeing those and just how dark and gritty things can get, it just kind of, I don't know.
Kind of used to it at this point.
I'm kind of used to it, and it's kind of refreshing over some of the funnier things. And I know it was very controversial for DC to make movies like that, even starting all the way back in '89 with Michael Keaton's Batman, doing a darker take on that character.
I wanted to touch on that a little bit. Right now I want to compare the DC and Marvel to Star Trek and Star Wars.
Ooh, interesting.
On Corridor, which is a YouTube channel of VFX artists, they had Adam Savage on their show, and they wanted him to explain the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek. Don't worry, I have a point. So he explained to them that Star Trek is a utopia, which is like these bright, shiny things with like lush vegetation. But Star Wars is like they're in a war. There's nothing clean. Nothing is perfectly uniform. There's mostly desert planets, and I think that's the problem with like Marvel. Marvel is like kind of like the happy, the clean, and everything's kind of new. But wait, I swapped. Wait, no, sorry, I swapped that. Star Trek is like Marvel, and DC is like Star Wars, kind of rusted. It's more, it feels more lived in, which is a really good point. Like DC, they feel lived in.
Yeah,
like
I like that.
The character wasn't built around the environment. The environment was built around the character.
Yeah,
and like Ashton said, I think the best part about the DC movies, well, some of them, not all of them are good, is a contained story. When you have a contained story in a bottle and you can really dive into like a character study, especially with the Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. Great movie. I think what they did with that was perfect. Especially, and also with The Dark Knight, when you dive into a character study and make your superhero or villain in that case as well, I feel like a real person. I think that goes a long way to connecting with the audience and making them feel more invested in the character, which is what you want out of a movie.
100%. I would actually say one of the greatest movies that proves this point is Joker.
Yeah.
Joker, like, typically, this would kind of feel like almost equivalent to Marvel making a movie based off of Green Goblin. Like, you wouldn't think it would work. I mean, Green Goblin has a bit more backstory than the Joker does.
Yeah.
But, like, Joker's kind of this character who represents pure chaos, pure destruction. You're not really supposed to feel super empathetic for him. Mm-hmm. He's kind of always just represented that in the comics and in the movies and stuff. So when DC said, hey, we're making a Joker movie, everyone was freaking out. Like, how is this going to work? And like an origin story, and we're going to kind of base it off a little bit of like the Killing Joke, which is like in the comics, the Killing Joke it's a really like dark comic.
Very, very,
very dark. I love that comic a lot.
It's a very popular one.
It's a very popular one.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives us these like quote unquote flashbacks, but it doesn't really confirm. It just kind of alludes that this might be the Joker's origin.
Yeah.
So anyway, what Todd Phillips wanted to do is he just wanted to take this character and he wanted to do a social commentary.
Yeah.
Showing the effects of like what happens to someone, like this case study of what happens to someone when the whole world beats them down, just a super lower class, mentally ill or mentally challenged person.
Yeah. Guy on the edge of society.
The guy on the edge of society. What happens when there's even like everything, the world just kind of pushes down on him, everything happens. You kind of see this man and you feel empathetic for him throughout the movie because like you have people like Thomas Wayne, who are like the super rich and famous one percenters that don't really care for these people or what's going on outside of like their expensive movie theaters or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when you have a character like this come up and be like, hey, I think I'm your son. And then just like, he's even like, no, you can't be. You're not. And then also kind of gives the reason why as well. But just after, you could tell like when Thomas Wayne saw him, he was disgusted that someone in that social class would even be talking to him like that. And yeah, it kind of just shows like, it shows a lot of things that I don't think, and it puts it in a format where a lot of people would watch. I think even an important message in a format where a lot of people would watch or wouldn't watch if it wasn't in like a DC movie sort of thing.
Yeah, I think, that's a really good point. I mean, the reason why people liked it is because people already knew who the Joker was. Yeah. We've gotten many, many versions of the Joker. And I think the reason why it did so well was because, like, they, like, Todd Phillips, the director, he really wanted this person. If you took out, like, well, let me rephrase this. If you titled it something else other than the Joker, it would still feel really good. Yeah. Like, if you took all the DC aspects out of it, it would still be really good.
100%.
Like, yeah. Because you can have, like, this whole story of someone going insane and turning into a maniac. That's why people compare it to Taxi Driver. Have you seen Taxi Driver?
No, I haven't.
It's a worse version. Oh no, not a worse version. It's worse as in like it's a lot more graphic and stuff. Okay. Because it's in a DC movie. Robert De Niro, absolutely brilliant in that. It's a Scorsese movie. Oh, okay. So it's gonna be a little more brutal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but also and Todd Phillips came out and like said that it was an inspiration, which I think is really good because, like when you have a social commentary like that, it just works.
Yeah, and actually, I found out like even in like psychology classes and stuff, like this movie is being shown because it does such an accurate job of depicting kind of like, how does someone become like the Joker ends up in that movie?
Absolutely.
How does someone become a maniac? And it shows like a realistic, gritty version of that, which again, something DC does super well. But for this movie, like it would not work in a DCEU. Like people are saying, oh, we want this Joker to team up, like and go up against like the new Batman or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I want that because I'd rather keep the universes separate, have the Batman do his own thing, have Robert Pattinson do his own thing. Yep. Get his own new Joker, whatever. I actually don't want the Joker to show up in those movies for a while. Yeah. But I
give the Joker a break, man.
Exactly. But I'd be interested in seeing like more movies in this format, like the Joker, that connect more to reality with different villains. That would be interesting. Like getting like a Mr. Freeze thing or maybe a Poison Ivy thing, and there could be like more of an environmental message going on there. Yeah. I don't know, just like something interesting like that. I don't really think you could do that with many Marvel movies.
No. Oh, so Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. That sparked an idea. I really want like a Bat family movie.
Yeah.
I want Dick Grayson. I want Jason Todd. I don't remember. Barbara Gordon as Batgirl.
Batgirl, yeah.
I think that'd be really cool.
That'd be so dope.
Yeah, like Into the Spider-Verse type of scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I don't think you can do that for many Marvel movies, but I would want to see a Tony Stark like being an alcoholic because that was a big storyline in the comics.
Yeah.
They touched on that a little bit in
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 3.
And
Iron Man 3.
Okay.
But instead of alcohol, it was his PTSD from the first Avengers movie.
True.
Which I think was a brilliant storytelling beat that Shane Black put into that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually, man, I know we're talking about DC here, but even like knowing Robert Downey Jr.'s history with alcoholism, that would have been such an interesting thing to see him do.
Yeah.
Is try to like navigate that in Tony Stark, since he is Tony Stark, let's be real.
Yeah. At this point, it's one guy.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, actually this brings up another thing in my head. Flashpoint.
Okay, so I don't know much about Flashpoint.
Okay.
I'm still reading that comic line, but
okay.
Carry on. I will explain. I will go along, and I'm ready for this journey.
So, for those of you that don't know, sorry, we're kind of switching gears here a little bit. For anyone who's seen, we won't spoil No Way Home in this episode. I think.
But do watch our review.
Do listen to our review if you've seen the movie. But people are saying Flashpoint is going to be like the No Way Home of the DCEU. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it would be better to put it with the Multiverse of Madness, depending on how that movie ends up being.
Yeah, we don't know. We're just speculating at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in the comics, what happens is Barry Allen, he, like, his origin story is his mom died at a young age.
Yeah.
And when he kind of figures out, like, the whole Speed Force thing, he goes back in time and changes that outcome. But from changing that one thing, he gets a completely different reality that he's living in, where it's Thomas Wayne is like the super gritty, like guns a-blazing Batman, Wonder Woman and Aquaman, like the Amazonians, and what's Aquaman? I forget Aquaman's kingdom.
Atlanteans?
The Atlanteans. Wow, I am just major brain fog today.
Oh, good man.
But where they're kind of having a war against each other. And then it's kind of like World War III is about to start. And just all this stuff.
Not a good time.
Not a good time because of that one outcome. And, you know, I guess also in Endgame, we kind of saw what would, like, Marvel's take of what would happen if you went out and changed the past, and they would suggest that if you go change the past, it branches out into a different timeline. What DC suggests is, like at least in the comics, if you change to the past, it would kind of affect. It would have an instant effect on what the future would be. Now the movie doesn't look like it's going that route. It looks like it's doing more of a Marvel thing here.
Yeah. Where
it kind of builds into this other timeline. So for that movie, we're seeing Michael Keaton come back as Batman from Batman 1989.
Yes.
And Batman Returns. That's the sequel. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember either.
Yeah. So we're seeing that, and then we're also seeing Ben Affleck as Batman in this movie again. Batfleck.
The murderer.
Yeah, exactly. Some people suggest that we might also be seeing Thomas Wayne. I don't think they're going to do that if they're showing us Michael Keaton's.
Yeah.
But what it sounds like they're doing is with this whole Speed Force thing with Barry Allen. We don't really have a good synopsis on it, but it sounds like something's going to happen, and then it's just kind of like assimilate a lot of the DCEU stuff with some of the other stuff DC has already done, which it can either be a really good thing or a really bad thing, I think. Because I like the whole idea of like DC as I said before, being able to put out different movies and not have everything isolated to one universe.
Okay.
But it would be kind of cool to see them also have like an extended universe where this stuff could happen, where there's potential for stuff. In a Flash episode, I actually don't keep up with any of the TV shows.
We'll talk about the TV shows in a minute.
Yeah.
We should.
But yeah, in one of those episodes, there was a scene of Ezra Miller meeting up with the Flash of
Grant Gustin.
With Grant Gustin, yeah, with the Flash of that universe. And yeah, it kind of shows this whole like how powerful the Speed Force thing is, and that the multiverse can kind of appear in DC as well. Yeah. So one big problem I have with this idea is it sounds like DC's just using that. It feels like they're pulling a Justice League. With Justice League, they kind of just hopped right into like a big team up movie before we had established solo films.
Yeah.
Before we could really love the characters, and then it tried to do some character development in that movie, whether it's like the Zack Snyder cut or the Whedon cut. And then like it also, it just felt too soon for that to happen if they were trying to mimic what Marvel was doing.
Poorly executed. And it feels like they're doing a similar thing here with the whole multiverse sort of idea. And then also banking on like older actors coming in and whatever. It's interesting what they're doing. What do you think of that movie? The idea of it? Like I said, I don't know much, but I think that Flashpoint's going to be a movie where we really find out the intentions of DC. Because if this movie messes up and it is not good, where do we go? Like, honestly, where do we go? Because we're at a point now where DC is one bad movie away from getting, like, absolutely destroyed by Marvel. They need to find a way to make this one of the biggest movies of all time.
That is true.
Because the Justice League was supposed to be that, but it was not very good. But the Snyder Cut's very good. Yeah, I think, I will watch the Snyder Cut in theaters again.
I'm jealous of that. I could see that happening, though, where, if this doesn't take off, then maybe what they end up doing is they just give up on the whole idea of an extended universe for now, and then jump into more solo films. It looks like the Batman's going to be good, and as far as we know, that's a solo film, unless they, in Flashpoint, somehow decide to incorporate that.
Oh, I sure hope not. Leave him. There's like two different Batmans, so leave him be. Just leave him be, man.
Exactly.
I want a Batman where he teams up with other people, and then I want a Batman where he's just destroying people.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
I would love to see, like, a Thomas Wayne, like, Batman solo movie take.
That would be really good.
Like a live action, like, What If, but it's Thomas Wayne's Batman. Like, that would be interesting. And then, also in that storyline, Martha, like, his wife...
Why'd you say that name? Why'd you say that name?
Martha actually becomes the Joker. Because Bruce is
Wait. Martha Wayne becomes the Joker?
Yeah, because Bruce Wayne is the one that's killed in the alley. So they kill Bruce Wayne to rob them or whatever, and then she goes insane because of it, and Thomas Wayne becomes the Batman. It's Batman is always gonna have a dark origin story.
Oh my gosh! Can't Batman settle down? Have kids? Probably with Selena Kyle.
I mean, he does have a kid. But that's with Talia al Ghul.
A legitimate kid whose mother is not a insane person.
That's fair.
And who does not betray him.
Damien, you suck. No, kidding. I love you, Damian Wayne.
Damien's great. Yeah. Ashton, what do you think? Should we take a break here?
Yeah.
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by Anchor.fm. Anchor.fm is the best place to edit and record your podcast from anywhere you go. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on your tablet, and you can do it even on your laptop. We use it to record ORF episodes, and it is a game changer for us because it's easy, accessible, and, sometimes when you make mistakes, you can cut it really easily, and that's...
To support the podcast and get access to this awesome platform with a premium subscription for only $5 a month, go to anchor.fm/nerdsandflannel/subscribe. Again, that is anchor.fm/nerdsandflannel/subscribe. Thank you, Anchor, for sponsoring. Dang.
I mean, hey, that could have gone worse, right, everyone? I think it was pretty good. We're going to leave this in because why not? Thanks, guys.
Matt's tired of editing.
Yeah, I'm tired of editing, guys. Alright, guys, welcome back.
Hello.
So, we're going to hop in to talking about DC TV shows.
Yes.
Now, for a while, people said that, oh yeah, DC TV shows are better than the Marvel TV shows, and the Marvel movies are better than the DC movies. And that was true for a very long time.
Yep.
Until Daredevil came out and absolutely destroyed all the DC movies. I mean, DC TV shows. So yeah, let's talk about that, Ashton. What is your favorite DC TV show?
So my favorite DC TV show, I'm not going to count Peacemaker because that TV show isn't done yet.
Yeah.
But I think I haven't really watched a lot of the live action ones. So my favorite would be Batman the Animated Series. That was like...
That's goated, actually.
Yeah, I watched that like throughout my childhood. I've still been watching it, just random episodes every now and then.
They're just good to watch.
They're good to watch.
Yeah.
You want to know what else is good to watch / listen to?
Oh yes, Ashton's gonna open up a can for you guys. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. For me, probably my favorite DC TV show is the Justice League show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up with that. I had the action figures. Thanks, Mom and Dad. It's just so good. The storylines are probably some of the best in animated TV shows. It's a shame it only ran for 2 seasons because I want more.
Yeah.
But then they kind of rebooted it.
They rebooted it with like Justice League Unlimited.
It was okay. It just, to me, some of the stories, like in this show specifically, would be great live action.
Yeah.
Now, wouldn't you want a Superman to lose his powers, go through the jungle, and try to kill monsters with a sword?
Yes.
Like, doesn't that sound so dope?
Sounds dope as frick.
That sounds so good. So I want to talk about the DC TV shows from CW.
Okay.
Now, Ashton doesn't know much about these, but lucky for you guys, I do, because I see all of them. So I want to talk specifically about The Flash and Arrow.
Okay.
So for a long time, The Flash was the best superhero TV show on TV for a while. Just because the storyline was great, the characters and acting were great, and people actually fell in love with these characters, even though the show looked like crap. Because, you know, it's a TV show, CGI budget, it takes time. It takes a long time to do like good CG. So, you know, running on a TV schedule, you don't have much time. But I must say it was good. I fell in love with it. Actually, I only started watching that TV show because of a girl. So yeah, dude, high school and that was weird. And but there was something missing in that TV show. I think what I really missed in that TV show was expansion. Like I'm talking about, like, it seemed like they were writing the script as they were acting. It was just very messy. And then Arrow was also very good. The first couple seasons, like these shows, both Arrow and Flash, they were good in the first couple seasons, and then absolutely fell off the cliff. They jumped the shark pretty hard. With Arrow, I think the best part about that was just building up Oliver Queen's character, because you really see him on the island in this where he learns how to like shoot a bow, and it's just really compelling. Because also when you add the business side to it with his family, because his family's rich, really makes you care. And I think the big thing that DC does well is make us care about the characters.
True. Especially
even in the bad movies, we kind of care.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ashton, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, being someone like I watched a couple episodes from some of the CW shows, just of the things that kind of have gone viral. So, like, I think I mentioned that Ezra Miller clip before.
Yeah. And
then also in the Batwoman show, with Kevin Conroy coming in and playing Batman in live action. Yeah. That was super interesting to me. Yeah, you know, as far as the CW shows go, I don't have a lot of context. I know a lot of people that like them. They film them locally here, where we live in BC, kind of in the Vancouver area. And it's kind of, they're interesting. I think what I've heard people say is, like, besides the Netflix shows, as a whole, DC, including animated and everything, DC just does TV shows better.
They're good. They're a lot better.
Yeah. And actually, one TV show, it's not a CW show, but one that I did love, that I just finished, is the HBO Watchman Show.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's DC, if you guys are wondering. When I just talk about superheroes.
Yeah.
As you know, DC's are... Watchmen's superheroes, but like...
Watchmen is like a DC superhero thing.
Yeah.
And man, like... The show's such an interesting concept. It's another great example of a social commentary.
Yes.
But it's such an interesting concept because it kind of... It takes you like 30 years or something, or even longer than that, past the events of what happened in the Watchmen comic.
Yes.
And it shows you just some of the after effects of that and where the world's at. Kind of like... Yeah, it's awesome. You're going to have to watch it. It deals with so many hard... and important topics and issues as well.
Yes.
Such a good show.
Yeah, I just want to recommend another show real quick. Smallville. It came out in like...
Yeah.
I can't remember
that one was
year
filmed very close to here.
Yes. Yeah. It came out in 2001. It was filmed like 2 minutes away from where I live. One thing I love about CW shows, I mean DC shows, is that they're filmed here.
Yeah.
And Smallville is really awesome because it delves into... Not Superman, but Clark Kent.
Yeah.
And to me, the alter ego of any DC character is much more compelling than its alter ego, right?
Yeah, alter ego.
Yeah. I was trying to find the word. There we go. And Tom Welling plays Superman, and it's actually really cool because it's just like a show. I grew up watching it. Yeah.
I have seen a couple episodes of that one too. My brothers love that show.
It's really good.
And actually, where they're it's filmed in the same place that Peacemaker's filmed in.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see that continuity. Another good show is the 60s Batman show.
With Adam West?
With Adam West.
Those are so campy, man.
They're honestly, like, they have their own charm. It's before all the realism and darkness with DC.
Yeah.
But wow, is it a good time? Just super nostalgic to watch. I think even as far back as like my grandpa, like, a lot of people just in my family grew up watching that, or at least had some experience watching it.
I mean, dude, it has some great moments. The freaking was it shark spray?
Yeah,
dude, that's iconic, man.
Honestly,
and then the meme with Batman dancing. That's so good.
True.
All right, Ash.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna get off the show subject. So
no, that's what I was going to. Good.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's do it. Same page.
Okay.
Awesome.
Quick list, just rapid fire list.
Yeah, hit me.
Top 5 favorite Batman actors. Starting for number 5.
If I can go, yeah. Top five. Val Kilmer, number 5.
For number 5, Val Kilmer is my number 5 too.
Okay. I'll go for it. We'll go. Who do I want to go with number 4? We'll go Ben Affleck.
Okay.
We will go Ben Affleck. I think he's a great Batman. What's your number 4?
My number 4 would be Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton is my number 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 3 is Christian Bale.
Okay. My number 2 is Christian Bale.
My number 2 is Ben Affleck.
And my number 1 is the one and only Robert Pattinson. That's right. The movie hasn't even come out yet. No, wait, I'm kidding.
So much faith.
I'm kidding. No, it's Adam West.
Okay.
I know it's campy, but like everything was campy back in the 60s, man. It was it's just a fun time.
Great show of the times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your number 1?
My number 1, Kevin Conroy.
Okay, I didn't know we were doing animated. All right, okay.
I just said favorite Batman actor.
Oh,
He has done live action.
That's true. Okay.
He's done video games. He's my definitive Batman. The Batman animated show did such a great job showcasing all aspects of Batman's character, which none of the movies have been able to do.
Okay. Do you know what? Yeah. Okay. I'll let it go. I'll let it go. I'm not saucy at all. Okay, quick question for you.
Yeah.
Rank all the Jokers.
All
live
the
action.
Jokers?
Live action Joker.
Okay.
Because number 1 would be Mark Hamill if we're not doing live action.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Number 1, Dude, it's Heath
No,
Ledger.
number 4.
Number 4.
Why are you going from the first
Wow,
one?
okay.
That's some backwards crap.
Because I haven't figured out 4 yet.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Okay. How about I go?
Okay, you go.
Jared Leto. Let's be real.
Jared Leto for 4?
I mean, he tried.
Yeah.
The script just wasn't good. But, you know.
You know what? He's my 4 too, because I think he would have actually been lower if it wasn't for his cameo in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
At the end? Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay. Do you have a number 4 yet?
That's my number 4.
Jared Leto?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think we might have the same list.
Okay.
Actually, wait. I think we're probably not.
Okay. Number 3.
Number 3. Oh, Jack Nicholson.
Same.
Well, number 2.
Number 2 is Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay, I'm going with Heath Ledger on
Okay.
number 2.
Okay.
I know. Hey, they both won Oscars.
Yeah.
And I'll go Joaquin Phoenix for number 1, and then you go Heath Ledger for
And then
number
Heath
1.
Ledger for number 1.
Yeah, no, I think I gave Joaquin the edge over Heath just because we see more of the Joker, and we see him play 2 different people.
True.
And do that one, and he lost. I mean, but they both lost a lot of weight to play Joker, and they were pretty method acting with that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with most of the Joker actors, they do go through stages of depression and like psychoticness, which is I don't know why that would happen, but just the risks of doing that role, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I would say like the reason I would choose Heath Ledger is just because I like having a villain that embodies just pure chaos.
Right.
In like a world where like, you know, like Thanos has like a backstory and everyone has a backstory. It's kind of cool having this super like mystery character come in and he's just there to wreck things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Ashton, do you want to talk about anything else in the DC universe?
I have one thing quickly.
Yeah, let's do it.
One question.
Yeah.
What do you think is better, DC video games or Marvel video games?
DC. Have you guys ever heard of the Arkham series?
100%
They're
agree.
so good.
So I haven't played like
I
Spider-Man
played all of
PS4, but I've played all the Arkham games, and that's enough for me to be like, yeah, that's where it's at. And the Suicide Squad game coming out looks super good.
It does look really good.
And then also Gotham Knights. That one looks super interesting.
Oh yeah, that's coming out too.
Yeah.
Yo, Lego Batman, bro.
Lego Batman, iconic.
Lego Batman.
Way before the Lego Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, way before Marvel.
Yeah, it's... Dude, DC wins video games and TV shows for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think
Marvel wins movies for now.
I don't think DC's coming back. Hot take. I don't think they can recover.
Dang.
I don't think. Okay, I want to look at. Okay, I know this is kind of a weird metric to rate these movies on, but let's do it anyways. I'm gonna look at the top 10 highest grossing movies of all time.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna find any DC.
There's no
movies
DC. Why do I get top 10 best high schools in Bulawayo before I get highest grossing movies?
There we go.
My goodness. Let's see his list. Yeah, I don't think DC's okay. So there is no DC movies in the top 10. Okay, let's go down this list and see where we can find a DC movie. Aquaman at 24, $1.148 million.
Aquaman was okay.
Aquaman was pretty good. It was fun.
It was fun.
It was just a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, quickly, I think before in the episode I kind of mentioned like the Zack Snyder universe movies.
Yeah.
What I would consider to be the Zack Snyder universe movies would start out with Man of Steel.
Yes.
And then it would go into it would start off with Wonder Woman and then go into Man of Steel.
Okay.
And then Aquaman. And then we'd get Batman vs Superman. And then we'd get I'm talking like the director's cut here.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Zack Snyder's Justice League. And also Suicide Squad, like David Ayer. Because, like, it kind of connects. Mm-hmm. It's not good, but it kind of connects. Yeah. And then from that, I guess you'd also have to throw in the Suicide Squad and then Peacemaker.
James Gunn.
Yeah. James Gunn is
James Gunn's doing both studios, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's the GOAT.
He's swimming in comics right now. He's like, I gotta get source material. What's the weirdest, villain I can get for this show?
Yeah, honestly.
He made us cry about Polka Dot Man.
Yeah, what the
Who
frick?
the frick is Polka Dot Man? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Ashton, before we wrap it up, you guys know how much we love lists.
Yeah.
Top 5 DC properties. So I'm going TV shows and movies.
Okay.
So both.
Both.
This is gonna. Yeah, I gotta think about that.
Yeah, I gotta think about it too. Yeah.
Let's see here. Number 5 for me. I'm gonna start with a DC movie. It would have to be Man of Steel.
Okay.
I adore this movie. This movie is really good. I think it gets a lot more hate than it deserves. Although Superman destroying entire city is nothing more than apocalyptic. So yeah, that's my number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need more
I
time?
think my number 5 is Aquaman.
Okay.
And I'm putting it at number 5. I genuinely liked the ending of that movie.
Okay.
I know people were like, "Why is his mom alive?"
Oh, shut up.
I like that. I love the scene with Tamara Morrison and what's the actor? Who is it again that plays Aquaman's mom? Nicole
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah,
Nicole.
Nicole Kidman.
You love Nicole in this
just
podcast.
reuniting 100%.
Nicole, if you're listening,
join
come
us.
on the pod.
Big fanboys. Yeah. I like that scene at the end, and it's just fun.
Yeah.
All right, number 4.
Number 4. Oh, I can't believe we haven't talked about this movie yet. Number 4 for me would be Wonder Woman. The first one. Not the
Okay.
second one.
Yeah, the second one sucked.
The second one's... Oh. How much time you guys got to talk about that awful movie. It was a mess. Anyways, the first one, obviously, like a lot of other people, I really like the World War I setting.
Yeah.
I think that worked really, really well. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine play really well off each other. She's like a fish out of water, and it's great to watch. And again, I know I talk about scores a lot on this podcast, but it's a pretty good score.
Yeah.
I believe it's Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL. You know, yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, now number 4, Ash.
All right, number 4 for me is going to be Peacemaker. We've already touched on it. Love the show. Super dark though, or
Yeah.
like super
bloody
and
not for kids.
and James Gunn.
James Gunn.
Yeah, he's like an evil like scientist maniac, but I love it.
Yeah. All right. Number 3. It's Smallville.
Smallville. Okay.
Probably
Respect.
it's the only TV show on this list.
Yeah.
But I just love that show. I think it's great character study on Superman. Well, sorry, Clark Kent, and yeah. All right, Ash, number 3.
Number 3 for me is going to be The Dark Knight. That's and like maybe just the Dark Knight trilogy in that case.
Okay, yeah,
if we're going with properties, and that's
we'll go with the trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's again kind of self-explanatory. Such a great trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're number 2 now. Yeah, number 2 would be Joker.
Okay.
Like I said before, I love this movie. Joaquin giving his everything. Also, all the supporting actors in this movie are really good.
Yeah.
Zazie Beetz, Robert De Niro. Can't remember the name of the actress who plays Arthur's mother, but she's really good. She was from How I Met Your Mother. Great show.
Yeah.
Ashton, go ahead.
Yeah. For me, we're on number 2.
Yes.
Is going to be Zack Snyder's universe.
Okay.
And I understand like there's a lot of him in it. I get that. But there's also like I just like sort of the realism it brings.
Right.
And also everything that kind of came along, like the whole creative movement for directors with the whole release the Snyder Cut thing,
Okay.
restore the Snyderverse, all that stuff. I'm on board. I think it exposed a lot, even that that movement exposed a lot of stuff that's wrong with the industry in general, especially with like Warner Bros. There's a lot of problems with racism, a lot of problems with holding over like directors holding over power. And then also producers enforcing a lot of power to you. Just a lot of crap that I exposed.
Yeah.
But also just as a story, I like it.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right.
Number 1.
It's obvious. It's the Dark Knight trilogy.
Okay.
Christopher Nolan. It's probably Dark Knight. I think the Dark Knight's his top 3 movies of all time.
Yeah.
I would put Tenet up. No. I put The Prestige up there and probably Interstellar up there as well.
Interesting.
But yeah, these movies are just almost perfect. The Dark Knight Rises is it leaves much to be desired. It's a lot of rocky things and mess, and it teased things that we're never ever gonna get, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Robin.
Yeah.
I wish that would happen.
Same.
But it's not. These movies look great. They sound great. Acting is great, and yeah, The Dark Knight's probably one of the best comic book movies of all time.
100%.
We should do that.
Best comic book movies of all time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll probably end up doing it sometime this week. Anyways.
Oh, let's be real.
All right, Ashton,
Cool.
number 1.
My number 1 is going to be the DC animated universe. Primarily like the Bruce Timm ones. So that includes Batman the Animated Series, and then the Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, okay.
Even having the futuristic Batman. What's that show called again? I love it. I'm just forgetting it.
Futuristic Batman?
The one that takes place with the new Batman when Bruce Wayne gets too old.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh!
Wow, people are probably pulling out their hair. I swear I usually remember this.
Oh, I have a Pop Funko of that. Oh my goodness, that's gonna drive me insane.
Yeah, here I'm... Sorry, I have a friggin' dairy allergy.
You guys have the Rona.
Okay. Batman Beyond. Yeah. Just that whole universe, man. Awesome. Love how, like, it pushed the limits of what, like, a video format can do for comic book IPs. And honestly, some of the best DC stories we've ever had have come out of that universe.
Yeah. All right, guys. Wow, we are almost an hour here.
Wow.
This is probably going to be our longest episode if I keep talking for about 55 more seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching.
Listening.
I mean,
well,
hey,
maybe watching.
Maybe one day. Hey, one day we'll get on the video format and
Yes.
you guys can see our faces.
Face reveal.
Yeah, we'll set up a little
Face reveal at 69 subs.
69 subs. Oh my gosh. Followers and subs, so we'll combine them.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, thank again. We'll have an episode out again. Whoa, we released one earlier this morning, and now we have another one coming out after we're done this, and then Boba Fett one's coming out very soon. And honestly, guys, we just really enjoy recording this.
100%.
Like, I think I at least for me, I could record all day, and just put things out. I don't know. Hey, we don't know who's watching. Someone's watching because we get clicks, and it's great. So if you're that person or those people, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
Yes, we will have more news. We're trying to get some stuff up and going. I haven't told Ashton yet, but we'll get some stuff up and going soon. And yeah, guys, until next time, I am Nat.
And I'm Ashton.
And we are the Nerds in Flannel.